The Mystery of the Eight Heads and Eight Tails. Understanding Yamata-no-Orochi. The eight terrifying heads of the legendary dragon-like monster. Yamata-no-Orochi held a special meaning for the ancient people of Japan. They saw these heads as representations of natural events and the changing of the seasons. For example, each head was associated with a different part of the year: spring, summer, fall, and winter, marking the start of each new season. In this way, Yamata-no-Orochi was an embodiment of nature's cycles. The might of Yamata-no-Orochi was also a powerful symbol. To the ancient Japanese, it stood for nature's immense forces and the human ability to overcome hardships. When they pictured Yamata-no-Orochi crossing a river, it reminded them of overcoming natural disasters like heavy rains and floods. So, this monster wasn't just a figure of fear, it was a representation of challenges to be faced and conquered. In the times of ancient Japan, giant monsters such as Yamata-no-Orochi were a significant part of people's lives. These creatures featured in stories that explained the mysteries of nature, the fears of the unknown, and the importance of coming together as a community. Tales of villagers banding together to defeat a monster served to unite and strengthen their bonds. Monsters like Yamata-no-Orochi weren't just characters in tales, they played a crucial role in fostering community spirit. The influence of Yamata-no-Orochi in modern Japan. In Japan today, the legendary creature Yamata-no-Orochi still captures people's imaginations, especially in movies, TV shows, comic books, and during big celebrations. Think of it like the dragons you see in fantasy movies, but with a unique Japanese twist. During some Japanese festivals, you might even see huge models of this creature carried through the streets. Geographical roots of the Orochi legend. A journey through time. The places that inspired the Orochi stories are still visited today. Imagine walking through an ancient forest or seeing old shrines in a place called Izumo, now known as Shimane Prefecture, and feeling like you've stepped into the legend itself. It's like going on a time-traveling adventure, where you can really feel the story come alive around you. Yamata-no-Orochi in fantasy. A global comparison. Yamata-no-Orochi is different from other mythical monsters you might have heard of, like the many-headed hyena from Greek stories, or the giant sea serpent Jormungandr from Norse tales. Each of these legendary beasts shows how people from all over the world have used their creativity to explain the world around them and express what's important in their cultures. Yamata-no-Orochi tells us about the Japanese way of seeing the world and what they valued way back in ancient times. Let's also talk about the god Susanoo, an essential part of the story of Yamata-no-Orochi. The power of God, the charm of Susanoo. Let's dive into the story of Susanoo, a mighty figure in Japanese myths. Imagine a powerful superhero, but from ancient Japan. Susanoo was the son of two major deities, and the brother of the sun goddess and the moon god. His tales are filled with daring adventures, like his secret stay at a place called Amano-Iwato, and his epic fight against a fearsome eight-headed serpent. His life was like a series of exciting episodes straight from a comic book, showcasing his strength and bravery from the start. Susanoo's achievements and legends. Susanoo, this superhero of old Japan, wasn't just tough, he was a protector, known for his daring acts, like beating the terrifying Yamata-no-Orochi. Think of him like a character in your favorite video game, defeating the big boss to protect people and even heal sickness. His most famous adventure was outsmarting and defeating the eight-headed beast and discovering a magical sword in its tail, which he gave to his sister, the sun goddess. This wasn't any sword, it was the Kusanagi sword, a legendary blade that's as cool as it sounds. For generations, people have looked up to Susanoo as the epitome of courage and a symbol of victory over the impossible. The beginning of the fate. Susanoo's battle with Yamata-no-Orochi started because of Susanoo's love for adventure and the serpent's evil doings. Susanoo always looked for adventures and challenges in the myths, and fighting the destructive Yamata-no-Orochi was something he was bound to do. This monstrous serpent was a nightmare, causing chaos and fear. Susanoo stood up to it, ready to fight. This classic showdown is all about being brave when things get tough and standing up for what's right. The story leading up to the confrontation. To protect a girl named Kushinada-hime, who was going to be given to Yamata-no-Orochi as a sacrifice, Susanoo stepped in. He didn't want her to face that dark fate. In a smart move, Susanoo got the serpent drunk on sake, a kind of ancient Japanese drink, then attacked while the monster was out of it. Susanoo showed us that smarts, combined with bravery, can help us win, even when the odds are stacked against us. Symbolism of the battle. Taking on Yamata-no-Orochi is like facing our biggest fears and problems. Just like the terrifying serpent in the story, we all have our own challenges. Susanoo's victory tells us that we can beat our fears and come out stronger on the other side. He's a hero not just because he won, but because he teaches us to find hope and courage within ourselves to overcome any hurdle. The development and climax of the battle. Susanoo, using clever strategies and his godly powers, managed to outsmart Yamata-no-Orochi. He targeted the serpent's weaknesses, taking down its 8 heads, one after the other. At the most intense part of the fight, when the serpent was least expecting it due to its drunken state, Susanoo struck the decisive blow with his sword. This epic fight teaches us that with the right mix of brains and strength, even the toughest foes can be overcome. The last days of Yamata-no-Orochi. The end of Yamata-no-Orochi came when Susanoo smartly cut down each of its heads and discovered a sword inside its body. Susanoo didn't rely on brute force alone, but used his smarts to make the serpent vulnerable by getting it drunk first. The sword he found, named the Kusanagi-no-Ken or Sword of Kusanagi, is now legendary and is considered one of Japan's 3 sacred treasures. The serpent's defeat became an inspiring story for all who learned of it, a true underdog tale of overcoming the odds. What the battle left behind. Thanks to Susanoo's bravery, Kushinada-hime was saved, and calm returned to the land. But Susanoo's impact was more than just saving a life. It brought a wave of hope and security to the people. He and Kushinada-hime married, had many children, and their family line enriched the community for generations. This legend strengthens our spirits, showing us how one person's heroic deeds can make a lasting difference in the world. Role and meaning in mythology. In Japanese mythology, Yamata-no-Orochi is a challenging force that prompts the hero, Susanoo, to find courage and strength within himself. This terrifying serpent stands as a formidable adversary, pushing Susanoo to demonstrate his might and develop into a genuine hero. When Yamata-no-Orochi threatens the land, Susanoo steps up to protect Kushinada-hime, marking the start of his heroic tale. Her rescue is not just about saving a person, but is a symbol of Susanoo's commitment to doing what's right. The story of Susanoo and the fearsome Yamata-no-Orochi teaches us a powerful lesson from Japanese mythology. No matter how daunting the hurdles we face, with determination and bravery, we can rise above them. In this article, I explained about Yamata-no-Orochi in Japanese mythology. Incidentally, in Japanese mythology, the Kusanagi sword is also called the Ame-no-Murakumo sword, both referring to the same sword. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and like this video. History Spectrum.